This is Love Destroyed, The Foreign Correspondent, written by Beryl Coops.
Love Destroyed. The snow had teeth. It bit without warning, ears first, then fingers through gloves, punishing the unprepared with old, patient malice. Catherine zipped her coat to the chin and pressed on, trailing her father through the crush outside Belorusky Station. Boots crunched in cadence with his longer stride. He didn't look back. Simon Locke never did. He had a name, sure, but mostly he was a byline. Headlines followed like ghosts. The man himself was a blur of half-smoked cigarettes, spiral-bound notebooks, a beard that changed shape with the war zone, always moving, always elsewhere. Catherine, 15 and nearly as tall, paced him like a second shadow, one with a heartbeat and questions he rarely answered. She'd seen Beirut before her first period, Darfur before algebra. She knew how to lie to customs and how to fold a map so the red circles never showed. Her geography teacher had given up trying. Her moral compass was still calibrating, half set by the trauma of other people's countries. She adored him like only a daughter could, and in his brittle, short-circuited way, he adored her back. "Not much further," he said, mostly to himself. The voice came out dry, chalk-on-board dry. Nerves or cold, maybe both. He was always like this before meetings. Wired, clipped, remote. But today there was a current under the silence that didn't feel safe. They turned into a side street that stank of diesel, piss, and secrets. The snow swallowed sound as if the alley had eaten the rest of the city. At the far end, a door waited, matte black, windowless, set into the wall like a bad tooth. Catherine paused, breath fogging. "Wait here," Simon said. "No chance," she answered. Quiet, steady, no pleading. She straightened and held his gaze. "You promised." A hesitation, just a flicker, then a nod. A promise to a daughter still meant something, even now, especially now. Inside, the flat smelt like boiled fear and old cigarettes. Yellow paint had soured to the colour of teeth. A man hunched beneath a swinging bulb, a chipped glass of tea sweating on the table, his eyes like wet pebbles. The kind who knew better than to ask for names. The kind who'd stopped pretending anyone ever told him the truth. "Locke," he said, no handshake. No smile. His Russian accent was smoothed by decades of disappointment. "And the girl?" "My daughter," Simon replied, eyes still sweeping the room. "Ignore her. She knows better than to speak." The man measured Catherine, clinical, unblinking. "Does she know where she is?" Simon didn't answer. The man shrugged. "Then let's talk." "They're in Moscow chasing a ghost," he began. "And this ghost has claws. It started in Tallinn, whispered by a man who drank vodka through a straw and wouldn't name the year. Ex-analyst, they say, limping, dying, itching to confess, Russian units flipping foreign journalists, trawling emails, poisoning sources, blackmailing them into propaganda. Some disappeared, some came back smiling too wide, filing stories Moscow could frame on the wall. Then worse. Not surveillance, not sabotage, deployment. One word keeps surfacing, Katabasis. Ancient Greek, if you care to look it up, a descent into the underworld, or into madness. Catherine had heard the word in 3 cities now. Each time, another shade drained from Simon's face. The man with the tea was the last thread dangling from the source. He slid a phone across. No SIM, just files. Satellite images, faces, time-stamped. A facility in northern Siberia, nameless, sprawling, built where questions froze before they reached the walls. "One photo showed Simon. You've been seen," the man said, tapping ash into an old jar lid. "They know you know." Simon stared. "They'll erase you like a bug," the man added. "And the girl, too." "She's not. That doesn't matter. She's with you." Silence tightened like a noose. In her corner, Catherine didn't flinch, but she saw it, the shift in her father's shoulders. He hadn't planned for this. They left without another word. A cab with no meter took them to a borrowed flat above a butcher's, where the windows froze from the inside. The stairwell smelt of raw fat and bleach. Catherine didn't ask questions. She just watched. She knew what real fear looked like now. It sat in the room with them and wouldn't blink. That night, she found him folding clothes with battlefield neatness, as if he'd never wear them again. No jokes. No radio, no second notebook with the scribbled codes. "What is Katabasis?" she asked. Simon didn't look up. "Something bad." "That's not an answer." He zipped the bag shut like closing a coffin lid. "It's a way of turning people into weapons, not with loyalty, with leverage. They find what you love, and they hold it by the throat." Catherine's voice thinned. "So, they found Mum?" He paused. Too long. No, he said. They found you. That was when he knew what he had to do. The next morning he woke her before the frost on the panes could soften. It was still dark, the kind of dark Moscow does very well, full of static and silence. Catherine's breath fogged as she sat up, hair flattened on one side, eyes trying to find him in the grainy light. "Where are we going?" she asked, voice thick with sleep and thirst. "The airport," Simon said, already dressed. "We're getting out." Half-truths. He said it like a man walking the plank. They moved like ghosts through the city, two figures in borrowed coats, dragging tired feet and heavier thoughts. At Sheremetyevo, they checked in at a kiosk. 2 seats. Heathrow bound. Simon kept his head down, shoulders angled away from the cameras, fingers steady only when they were moving. Catherine made a joke about the airline food. He laughed too quickly. It sounded like a lie. At the gate, he pressed a passport into her hand. Not her real one. Something new. Something cleaner. She flipped it open. A different photo. Still her name. Just neater. Harder to trace. "What is this?" "A gift," he said, "from someone who owed me. Big time." She squinted at it. "Why?" "I'm putting you on that plane." A pause. Long enough for boarding to start. Long enough for the gate agent to glance over twice. "Alone?" she said. He nodded. Then, too softly, "I'll follow." But she knew. Kids like Catherine always know before they admit it. "No. You have to," he said. "Tell me why." There it was, the crack in the hull. He could dress it in something prettier. Promise London. Promise later. She'd hear the lie in the space between words, so he gave her the brutal version. "You're holding me back. You're in my way. Too needy. I need you gone." Catherine blinked. Mouth opened, closed. "You think this life is romantic," he went on, "like a spy novel. Near misses, code words, dead drops. It's a slow-motion car crash, and you're the weight I carry, the soft spot they'll cut for, the one thing I can't protect. I can't do my job with you around." When her voice came, it was a thread. "You don't mean that." "I do." He kept his eyes on the glass, not on her. Slate flat. "You're a liability, a child pretending to be brave." That was the knife. Not the words, the way he set them down and didn't reach to take them back. She slapped him. Not hard, just enough to make the air hum. Face white, she pocketed the passport and turned for the jetway without a word. He didn't call after her. He didn't watch her go. If he did, he'd break. 3 hours later, the plane rose into the sky like a wound being stitched shut, silver swallowed by snowfall and airport noise. In 14A, Catherine sat bolt upright, fists knotted, eyes burning, teeth clenched. She hated him. Knew this hating. Heavy, alive in her ribs like a second heart trying to break out. She stared through the glass until her reflection blurred and the wing became a smear of light. Elsewhere, on a terminal roof, Simon stood with the man in the long black coat, the one with dead eyes. "She won't forgive you," the man said. "She doesn't have to." The man lit a cigarette, offered one. Simon took it. His fingers shook. "They'll assume she knew nothing," the man said. "That's the point." "And you?" Simon shrugged. "I'm done anyway." He looked smaller now. Not weak, just spent. Like a book too often reread. "You were good at it, better than most," the man said. "I was never that good," Simon answered. "Just faster. And lucky." One evening they found him near the old railway yard, dusk leaking into the sleepers, lying in a ditch meant for things no one wanted found. A bullet to the head. No wallet. No ID. His face swollen from the cold. In his pocket, a photo, water-stained but intact, a woman in a sunlit garden, holding a small girl who hadn't yet learnt heartbreak. It took Interpol a week to notify the next of kin. Catherine got the call in London, in the spare room of a friend's house with floral wallpaper and no heating. She hung up and didn't cry. Not right away. When it came quiet. Days of it. Salt on the pillow, silence in her throat. And still, something snagged. There'd been a look, a hesitation, a softness under the cruelty. She replayed his words 100 times, every syllable, every angle, searching for the seam. Eventually she saw it. The shape behind the lie, the truth he couldn't say aloud. He hadn't abandoned her, he'd saved her. But at a cost. She would never forgive him. She would understand. One day.
This was Love Destroyed, The Foreign Correspondent, written by Beryl Coops. I hope you enjoyed my short story. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. I have written over 500 short stories over the years under many pen names. I will be updating these and recording them under the Beryl Coops name. I will be listing them on YouTube as fast as we can get them recorded. They will include historical drama, humor, adventure, romance, period drama, mystery, thriller, war stories, spy stories, revenge, horror, psychological horror, dystopian, disaster, children's stories, love stories, and more. Too many to name. Something for everyone. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up. It helps others find my channel. Until next time, thank you for listening to the end.